All right. So, Will Rogers 12-hour race. That was just about a week ago tomorrow. And it has been a really nice week just kind of reveling in the fact that I actually won my first, well, it wasn't my first ultra marathon, but the first ultra marathon that I won. Especially given last year with Folsom, I gave up way too early on trying to win that race. Ended up posting a time that I wasn't too proud of. And so this race was like a long time coming. I was really looking forward to this race. I was a little bit stressed in a sense, uh, but it was a training race nonetheless, because my bigger goal is the Leona Divide 100. And so this was mainly to focus on fueling. Let's get into it. So I had three real goals for this race. So my first goal was to fuel and hydrate really well. I wanted to make sure that, I wasn't just able to do that on my long runs that are 3 to 5 hours long, but through a 12-hour course that I was still able to push myself, pivot when I needed to, and do that for the long run. Second goal, so my B goal was to complete at least 60 miles. So not quite 100K, but get as close to 100K as I can in that 12-hour time frame. And then my C goal, which was kind of a joke, but it's always a goal, is win if I can. So I did A, I did B, I got 62.46 miles, and I did C. I hit all three of my goals. Now, this was a very long training run again. So you don't want to try new things in a race, but in training, you do. So I had a lot of things I wanted to try out for this training run. Caffeine taper did not go so well. I am a person who needs coffee in the morning to get things going, or at least caffeine, and it backed me up. I had stomach issues all day long, and it was not good. Carb load. I feel like my carb load went pretty good. I'll have to test it out again and make sure that the stomach discomfort wasn't from the carb load also, but it was just from the caffeine. So I have a 24-hour race in 2 weeks that I'll, again, not do the caffeine taper again, keeping coffee. And I will do a carb load leading up to that, to where I'm just increasing carbs throughout the week and making sure my glycogen stores are topped off so that I can have as much fuel in the system that I'm just topping off throughout the race with my nutrition. Another thing was the use of a handheld. I do not like running with things in my hands. I usually wear a vest where I can have as much water and snacks as I want, and even on shorter long runs where I don't need as much, I'll still wear a vest and it'll be hotter, but I do pretty well with the heat. And I'll kind of get into that a little bit later, what I do for training for the heat. But I'd much rather wear a vest than a handheld. But I actually found that it didn't bother me really at all. I kind of liked having the handheld. It was nice. It wasn't too heavy. I used a 12-ounce Nathan flask that had a little pocket for gels, but I actually kept all the gels in my half tights that I was wearing. So I was just had the fluids that I had in there, and that actually worked really good. So that was another win. And then the half tights. So I tried flip belts, half tights that had like a built-in belt all the way around the waist, where I could easily access, my nutrition, whether it be bars, gels, whatever I was using, as well as keep my phone in the pocket. So now I forgot to bring my squirrel's nut butter. And these new tights rubbed differently than my usual shorts. So I was chafed worse than ever. But it actually helped me push mentally. Not that I want to do that again. but I was able to push through that pain and run the whole time. I never looked for or asked anybody if they had some, squirrel's nut butter or something I could use. So I just pushed through it. There's time at hour 9 where I tried to go to the bathroom, pulled my shorts up the wrong way or something, or it was the air that hit all the chafage, and I swear I was gonna quit. And that I was like, I'll just go. It doesn't always get worse. Just it'll go away, and it did eventually, but it took a lot longer to go away than usual discomfort does. The other thing was I've been trying out these new Mount to Coast T1s. It's their trail shoe. They feel really good on my feet. However, they don't have the wide toe box that I am used to. So I usually wear Topos or Ultras. My left foot was fine. I don't know how many blisters on my toes on my right foot, as well as I may end up losing a couple of my smaller toenails. So I don't know yet how I feel about them. Again, they felt great on my feet, not on my toes, if that makes sense. And then I used a heart rate cap. So on my watch, I programmed it to beep at me if my heart rate got above 150 beats per minute. And I did that so that I wouldn't go out too fast and be pushing too hard and telling myself that I'm not actually pushing that hard. And that worked really well. So in this race, it was a 2.2 mile loop. The first half was a 330-ish foot climb, and then you descend back to the start and do it all over again. The climb was nice and steady, 300 foot over 1.1 miles ish, and I was able to run every lap up until lap 17 before I started incorporating a little bit of hiking to keep the heart rate down. So that worked really good. I was just going nice and slow, and I just told myself, I had a little mantra that I heard from, I think, Sally McRae, and I'm probably butchering it, but it goes something like slow is steady, steady is easy, and easy is fast. And people would pass me at the start of a climb, and I would just slow truck it all the way up, and before I know it, they'd be stopping to walk because they just started out too hard, and I would just run the whole thing, pass them, and then gain on it on the way down, and it worked really well. So again, handheld water bottle worked really good. The use of a heart rate cap worked really good. We'll test out that carb load again, and then I really like the tights, the half tight. So we'll try that again with our squirrel's nut butter, probably. So improvements I'll make for next time is I'm not going to do a caffeine taper, and don't forget that anti-chafe ointment. Also, I forgot sunscreen. Now, my face doesn't usually get burned too bad, and it's probably because I usually wear a hat, and I pull it down pretty low to cover my eyes and most of my face. But my neck and my elbows, they got totally fried. So don't want to skip out on that. Very aware of how bad sun damage can be. So I want to make sure that I get like an extra bottle to keep with my running stuff just in case. That way when I grab my box to get out to a race or something, it's not something that I forget. So let's get into the details. So I already said it's a 2.2 mile loop, 300 feet of climbing per loop, and the climbing's all in that first half. 8 stations at the start and finish. So you have an aid station every 2.2 miles, which can be good and it can be bad. If you have 2.2 miles between each one, that's very short time where you could end up stopping for way too much time at each aid station. That being said, my moving time was over 11 and a half hours for a 12-hour race, which means I was stopped for an average of less than 2 minutes per loop every time. And that was just, I had a couple longer times where I tried doing like an ice bandana, tried hosing myself off with a little rinse kit thing that they had there. So those took a little extra time. But all in all, I was really just refilling my water, grabbing a couple snacks, making sure I had gels and stuff in my pockets, and on it went. So they were usually under a minute long. Um, so, start of the race. Stomach upset because of the caffeine taper, I'm thinking. My daughter also had a little stomach issue going on, so I might have had something like that as well. Was unable to use the restroom until like the second or third lap, and then was able to go a little bit. Sorry if that's TMI, but nonetheless, I was getting upper abdominal and then lower abdominal. Wasn't sure if at times I was going to throw up or if I was going to have to stop in the restroom. But mentally, I just pushed through it. I adjusted when I had to. If it got too bad, I just slowed down. That worked really well, got me through those little moments, and I just kept moving forward. And that's the point of the race, is you just got to keep moving forward. Also, my timing chip. I think I broke my timing chip before I started because I had put my number on and everything with the timing chip, and I was using my massage gun to warm up my legs like I usually do before a run. And I went over it really quick. I thought about it, and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't do that. First lap, I go around, they're telling us, check the screen, make sure you see your name. Didn't see my name, but I was kind of like not fully looking. And so then second lap, I come around, don't see my name again. They notice that I'm looking and it's not there. And so they're like, okay, well, if it's not there the third time, come back or come to our table and we'll get you a new timing chip. So third loop, had to end up switching out my timing chip. That took some time, so that was accounted to those 34 minutes or 26 minutes of stopping time that I had. But I got the timing chip switched out, which ended up working in a really cool way. So when they switched my timing chip, they also accidentally gave me an extra lap. Now, I had all intentions of telling them by the end of the race, hey, you guys need to take off a lap because you guys accidentally gave me an extra lap, and you'll see it in there. I'm sure the numbers are all screwed up. And it wasn't until hour 9 that they fixed it, but on the tracker, it looked like I was ahead of the entire course by 1 lap. So my family's texting me, hey, you're in first, and I'm telling them what's happening. And I'm like, but they're like, okay, well, actually, you're in second. So I was in second, and I'm like, okay, so I need to find first, pass them, and then basically stay in front of them. So we'll get in a little bit more of that in a minute. But timing chip wasn't working, had to switch that out. Lap 4, I was running with that handheld bottle, 4 gels, a bar, and I would refill that every hour. So I new handheld that had G1M Sport in it, which is Bare Performance Nutrition's carb and electrolyte mix. And then I'd have my gels and bar that I'd eat every 25 minutes after that. So I'd sip it on the G1M Sport the whole time, and then food every 25 minutes. So now, going to the race, I did not anticipate having a crew. This race was in Pacific Palisades, which I'm not too familiar with, and I didn't want my family just sitting at some park with nothing to do. Had I looked more into the area, I would have realized beach is right there. They could have gone down to the beach. It was a huge park. There was, lots of grass area. They could have brought the dog. So if I end up doing it in the future, maybe a cool one for them to come to. But that being said, I anticipated not having a crew. So I had everything set up. I had bags per hour with my G1M Sport in it. Every third hour, I had 50 milligrams of caffeine in there as well. And my plan was every hour, empty the contents of the baggie into the bottle, fill it with water, and then make sure I had 4 gels and a bar in my pockets. But my coach and good friend Eric, his cousin Kurt was there, and he was doing the relay race, so he had some downtime between his laps, and he was all over it. He was like, "Yeah, dude, let me crew you, hang out with us." I had my box there, and he would just refill my bottle, and that was awesome. That saved me. That probably is one of the main things that saved me so much time at my aid station stops. Um, so then let's get back into the heat. So for heat training, what I like to do I used to do sauna, but I've since stopped, and now I do Epsom salt baths, and I get it to where my heart rate is at least double my resting heart rate for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Usually I'm in there for somewhere 20 minutes to a half hour, with it filling up and emptying. Once it's full, I stay in for 20 minutes. Usually that's enough time for my heart rate to get up, and then it takes significant time for my heart rate to drop. That's how hot I'm aiming to get the water. So the heat training, so the heat of the race actually didn't bother me that much. I did end up using, like I said, the rinse kit and an ice bandana in hopes that the cooling would help my stomach. So I tried one lap with the ice bandana. The one I had just felt like it was insulated too much around my neck, and I used it for one lap, and I anticipated it being kind of annoying to refill, so I just ditched that. But Kurt and the aid station actually had these rinse kits that are like these little portable showers, and I had them hosing me off pretty much each loop, after like hour 6, probably 7 or 8. So for like 3 or 4 laps, I had them hosing me off, and that worked wonders. So it was a little bit of a drier race, so just having that extra water on me really helped. So I actually ended up buying one, and now I'm going to incorporate that into my coming races as well. So we'll get into a little bit of the fun of the race. Jesse Haynes. If you guys are not familiar with Jesse Haynes, he is a very good trail runner. I think he held the course record or something at Cocodona or Moab a couple of years ago. But anyways, he was there, and I was just expecting him to be passing me the whole time. Turns out he wasn't having the best day, which was nice for me because I wasn't just getting embarrassed. But I was actually able to hold him off for 17 or 18 laps, and I got to talk to him a few times. Nicest guy, love the trail community, super fun. He ended up he was going to do the 24-hour race. I think he stopped a little bit after I did. Jesse, super great meeting you out there. And then, again, so let's get into the live tracker. So my family was texting me early on. I think I was only 10 miles in. So that was my 4th loop. That's when my tracker started working. Hey, it looks like Zach's in first. And so I was updating them. So around hour 4, I was texting my wife, and she's telling me she's like, okay, well, look out for bib number 132. And so I'm like, okay. So I passed through the aid station one more time, and then she texts me, looks like he's only 2 minutes ahead of you. I'm like, oh, okay, like that's really close. She's like, well, take your time, don't pass him. Like, don't go kill yourself trying to pass him. And I was still just running every step of this race, all the way up the uphill, all the way down the downhill, and only really stopping for less than a minute for the aid station. And maybe 2 minutes after she texts me that, I look over, there's this guy, and I look down at his bib. It's bib number 132. We're 4.5 hours into this, and 30 miles, about almost a 50K, and I'm like, oh crap. I just passed into first place. I need to now hold this for the next 7.5 hours. So at that point, I was still feeling really good. So I was like, I'm just going to keep running every step of this race for at least 3 more loops before I slow down. That way I can build myself a little bit of a gap between me and him. So go on till probably about hour 7. And at this point, I'm texting my wife every lap. Where's second? Where's second? We turned it into like a game. Second's 13 minutes behind you. He's 9 minutes behind you. He's 11 minutes, 12 minutes. And I would just use that as a time where if he was getting closer, I would run the whole next lap and then find out how far behind he was. And if I had built up a significant gap again, I would walk at certain stages of the uphill. And it was just like a yo-yo game where I would let him reel me in a little bit and I would just pull away, reel me in a little bit and then pull away. That way I wasn't completely burning myself out and had plenty in the tank to finish the 12-hour race that I'd signed up for, as well as keep first place. So I did that up until the end of the race, basically, and I finished my last lap around 6:07. We have until 6:10 to start another lap. In the back of my head, I'm thinking, what if this guy who was 14 minutes behind me was able to sprint this last lap, get here before 6:10, take off on another lap, and then win? Absolutely not. I am not letting this win go. And so I'm talking to them. I'm like, you guys are going to count this lap if I start it before 6:10, like no matter what time I get back? They're like, yeah, just don't get back. Like, don't let it take you 2 hours to finish the lap. I'm like, okay, fine. I take off and I'm ripping out of there, newfound energy. Ended up finishing one of the fastest laps of the day for me at about 22 minutes. Came in at 6:31, finished 62.46 miles in 12 hours and 1 minute, and took first place overall. And I couldn't not go on that extra lap because, like I said, I used Bare Performance Nutrition's nutrition, and I was also wearing their hat, said go one more on it. And so I'm like, I can't not go one more wearing a go one more hat. And then I was also wearing my Sally McRae go or pass, gap, and bury shirt. So I'm like, I passed this guy, I gapped this guy, now it's time to bury this guy and secure my win. So it's all about mindset. It would have been really easy to be like, it's 6:07. There's no way he's going to get here in 3 minutes. I'm just going to lay down and be done. And I finished 60 miles. So that was the minimum that I wanted to do. Like, let's just be done with it. But went that extra lap, nailed it, and secured the win. So it ended up being an amazing race. All in all, for the first about 7 hours, I was taking G1M every hour, a full serving, at least one Go Gel and one Honey Stinger Honey Gel for a total of around 68 grams per hour minimum. I was also taking in some food at the aid station. Around hour 7, with the stomach issues and stuff, I switched to just drinking water, but then I also would make sure I was eating every time I came to that aid station. So every lap, I was getting at least 100 to 200 calories, and who knows what the carbs were on there because I was getting a mixture of different things. But that was, again, the main goal was to make sure I was fueling and hydrating well. So even though I stopped with the electrolytes, I was making sure I was getting salty foods, I was taking in water, and it worked really well. Next time I'll probably implement maybe some salt pills, something a little bit different. That way I'm not just relying on G1M throughout the entire race, and I can get some plain water in there as well. And then I was doing caffeine, like I said, it was supposed to be every 3 hours. I got the first 2 down, but then after the second one, that's when I switched to just water. So 62.46 miles, 12 hours, 1 minute, first place overall. What a race. Inaugural year of them doing the Will Rogers Trail Fest. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. I'll hopefully throw up some videos and stuff from the event as well. Didn't take as much videos as I wanted to, and not as many as updates throughout the race as I wanted to, because I was so focused on getting through it, but that's how it went. So I'll see you guys at the next one. All right, race morning, 5:41 a.m. Been up since 3. Race starts in about 50 minutes, so gotta haul my junk over to the area and meet Kurt and get this thing on the road. All right, we just finished lap 7.
Heart rate high 156.
15 miles in, about 2 hours, 45 minutes. Going strong, feeling good. All right, 57 miles in. Got one more lap after this one, and should be finishing. I wanted to video more, but battling my stomach all day, and been fighting to stay in first. So, thanks, babe. My wife's been coaching me along, telling me how far back second place is, and it's been a battle. So, let's go. Let's do this. Let's finish this. Last lap. What a sunset.
You're almost there. Come on, come on, come on.